Now, Subway sells a lot of sandwiches. In fact, there's some right here. So many, in fact, that a year's worth of sales placed end to end, yes, would wrap around the earth 13 times. How they get that number, I don't know. My next guest probably can give us the insight that comes with that kind of arithmetic. He helps make it all happen. Here to explain the success of Subway is Jeffrey Moody. He's the chief executive of Subway's marketing arm. And there's a whole real technical title here, Franchisee Advertising Fund Trust.
Perfect.
I did it.
Perfect.
It almost sounds like the name of one of your sandwiches.
It's too long. You couldn't make a commercial that long.
What is the Franchisee Advertising Fund Trust, just so we understand that, because you're the chief executive of that, because this is a franchise world out here.
So Subway is all franchised. There's a parent company, Doctors Associates, which owns or which franchises the concept. The franchisees advertising fund contributions, which is similar to other brands, but you go to a fund, but what's different is our fund is put in the trust and is administered kind of as a separate company. It's part of the overall company, but it's a separate entity as well.
All right, and so do you get to make the decisions about, what kinds of sandwiches to introduce or what kind of pricing to advertise?
Yes, we work together. There's multiple parts of the company, so we do the advertising, the branding, a lot of the research. We work with research and develop products that are in tune with consumers' needs and so forth. And we kind of a lot of parts of the organization all work together. There's another separate part that does all the purchasing.
All right. Now, the reason I ask is because whoever came up with the $5 foot-long sub, is that you?
No, there's a franchisee in Miami, Florida that put it in one of his stores that was in a hospital because he wanted to build his weekend business. So for 3 years, $5 footlongs were available in one of what is now 23,000 stores in the U.S. One store had it only on weekends. Then we kind of figured out, put it in other stores. It did great, and it became this big phenomenon. How long did
it take you to figure out that $5 price point seemed to be just so important, particularly in a recessionary environment?
Yeah, it was magic. A lot of good things kind of happened at the same time. So we found that one guy doing well, put it in other stores instead of just weekends full-time. Those stores exploded in sales without even doing television. Then it went to some more stores, and it kind of had this, this grassroots thing where it went for a couple of markets. And then all of a sudden we got on National's radar screen, which when I got involved with it, we decided if we took this thing, and we had to make sure the economics worked for the franchisees, because it was kind of shocking to think $5 can we make money, but it was a very good profit maker for the franchisees.
Really, the margins, they can handle the margins at $5.
Yeah, because of all the dynamics on the subs that we now have on an ongoing on the menu at $5, they can make money on it. And it really hit a sweet spot price-wise. You're right, we're just entering into the recession, and we couldn't have predicted the financial market falling, but our timing ended up being perfect. We're looking at gas prices. They were going up, so our consumers' disposable income goes down. So we wanted to get more value relevant. Then it just precipitated down from there, so the product was positioned perfectly. It's now about a $4 billion brand for us.
$4 billion?
$4 billion of $5 footlongs.
Just for the $5 footlongs. That's the $4 billion
just
money.
In the U.S. Yes. Yeah.
That's a lot of footlongs.
Yeah, and it's been about 2.5 years. It is long, and it will stretch around the world 13 times.
13 times, right. Well, that's
I'm not sure how much that would cost at $5 a foot, but yeah, we could figure that out.
I'm sure you're going to have someone working that out. Franchisees, have they seen the effects of the credit crisis? I mean, we talk about access to credit, access to money. One of the things that's supposed to make Subway at least distinctive is that it isn't that difficult. It's a simple operation.
Yes.
That's one of the reasons why you have over 33,000 locations around the world?
Worldwide, yeah, over 33,500 as of today. We have more locations than any other brand, including McDonald's, both in the U.S. and globally, so it's great. And what is different is we've been able to weather the financial storm, both with the consumer, because our traffic is growing, even though the category has actually shrunk by about 1 billion occasions in the last year. Our sales are up and our traffic is up. But we've also added stores, because as you mentioned, it's lower out of pocket. There's not a lot of overhead. It's not a huge facility. We don't have fryers and some of that other expensive equipment. We bake bread and we create sandwiches. So it's cheaper to get in. So our franchisees, who combine good sales, good profits with a low cost of entry, have still been able to grow despite the recession.
Where are you seeing the biggest growth in the network right now?
Really, it's all over the place. You have to be careful where you put them. When you have 23,000, you have to have smart development. But because of our footprint, we can go places no one else can. So really, from coast to coast, there are opportunities.
And what about input costs? We've been noting about food inflation, the price of wheat, for example. That's got to affect at least some of the economics of the business.
It does, and we have a great purchasing organization. Again, with our scale, with that many stores, we've got some buying power, and we have a phenomenal organization called the Independent Purchasing Co-op, which operates and buys stuff just for Subway. And they've been able to keep costs down, and even our projection in the future are for not a heck of a lot of inflation.
And what kinds of new products are you going to be introducing? You talked about the $5 footlong. What are we going to see next?
A combination. We just introduced, so we got into breakfast nationally 6 months ago, and that is already on pace to be about $1 billion brand, sub-brand on an annual basis. And just this week we introduced a sunrise melt and a sunrise flatbread product at breakfast. So we've got product news. We're now featuring our Subway Club, which we've had on the menu. In fact, we've got some in this fresh fit platter we have. But the Subway Club is high protein, low fat. It's typically not $5. We're featuring it at $5 for about the next 6 weeks in honor of Jared running in the New York Marathon, because it's one of his favorite sandwiches and he eats it to train.
Jeff, I got to ask you, what's your favorite sandwich?
Mine? It's interesting. I like a lot of them. I like the Club a lot. I put jalapenos on it. Today for lunch, so I had chicken strips with cheese with jalapenos melted in it with some green peppers, lettuce, and tomatoes. I like a lot of them.
Wow, I hope you're not going to go think about running it right after that.
No.
All right. I want to thank you very much, Jeff Moody, coming to us as the Chief Executive of a Subway Franchisee Advertising Fund Trust. There, I did it again.
Perfect.
All right.